Now, this is Daryl Kirky from the Daryl Kirky Show, by which I've ended and terminated. So I made this video not live, which could be private and later public, to display what's been going on as an awakening to a lot of stuff that I've been preaching, by which now I'm paying a price, a consequence, after some very serious medical attacks like never before. And even though I'm diabetic and I'm not having any, like hardly any carbs or any sugars, it's been worse. I don't understand it. And I went without smoke, everything. And I nearly died. And I've had somebody who's very supportive of me, a friend, call me right at that time, having a sense that I was under some type of meltdown. The brain was locking down. It was zigzagging and fired up and burning, and it's like a virus, like a COVID thing. I've had it already 2 or 3 times already, and it's not just that, it's the psychic experiences as a result of it, as warnings and visions, and my grandmother appearing literally. No kidding you, she actually appeared. I freaked out. I said, "Do you come in the name of Jesus Christ?" And all these dark shadows around her just vanished, and she stood there. I didn't see the face, and she gave her love and her presence and gave me a warning, and I shall tell you more about this shortly. But let's get the time, which is 5:08 a.m, and the date today is the 22nd of January, Thursday, 2026. This is actually my anniversary day of my marriage, by which I've been separated for almost 20 years, and my wife, you can say, is having stomach transplant next month, and there's, I don't know, 50 to 75% she's going to die. And my father appeared to me in a dream many months ago and said it's going to be a slight chance of her living. And next thing, I'm a widow, and I won't be alone. So obviously God will make a way for me to be family again, but I do not wish upon my worst enemy what she's going through. And this is not a time to fight or attack or judge or divorce or anything. So anyway, putting that aside now for a moment and returning to this message I'm trying to convey here. On the 15th of January, I made my last video live, and it was the longest one ever. And it was one day before, you could say, the anniversary of my mission, mate, exactly to the day. And I got attacked physically by people who I knew. They announced the name, and I rebuked and everything. And then I couldn't stop having very serious negative dreams of how these people want to harm me and accused of something. I mean, hunting me for decades. Why would anyone do that when I'm innocent? Just by listening to malicious, false gossip rumors. It's unbelievable how people can live their life as Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So I am innocent. There's times I've spoken on audios or other times secretly record, and I've said a lot of bullshit and done this, done that, and I made it all up because I was around thugs, and one guy was I found out later he was a murderer, and he was a religious person, and they record me. This is going back years, and then send it to the police and to my ex. See, breaking up my marriages one after the other because he's racist. It represents the racist party of Australia back in the 80s and 90s. I don't want to go into detail, it's too negative, but it's frightening that somebody could can give so much time and attention to destroy somebody. So they are really enemies, and they come from out of religion. But I'm not going to knock religion. I'm going to knock the manual and the system of formality. Just like when you go to university, you've got to pass the examination by understanding the question. I knew all the answers, but I couldn't understand the question. And then finally, when I did understand the question, I passed, and I went to university, became a teacher. Despite all my trouble and my disability and everything, I got through, and I taught overseas for a few years. So they make it hard, just like immigration. They make it hard so they can't take everybody in. Otherwise, everybody would be at uni and everybody would be immigrated and so forth. So they only can take so many people. This formality in religion is just man-made. We know that. It happens in all religions, clergy and all that sort of thing. It doesn't matter, grace church or a priesthood church. So I'm not going to reject that which brings the light so brightly that it matches my best friend, who was my counselor, to the channel, which left the channel because I was preaching too much against the church, because she's part of it, but she's also a grace Christian activist, activated evangelist, Latter-day Saints. So what I'm trying to get at here is it was just dimming her light a bit, because she knew from her experience and her visions that the foundation of the church is more true than what came later. But nevertheless, what come later, even from the Hindu come later, everything started off quite pure. And God allowed it to get all messed up. The Bible translated so many times and whatever. And so she started to preach to me after severe medical attack 3 times over the last 3 days. And she said, well, nothing's working. The roaring in the spirit of Melchizedek of agent practice, that wasn't working either, because it was giving me a headache because I had some type of brain breakdown and I couldn't get into all that. So she just preached out of the Book of Mormon in her voice, and something went through me and stabilized me, and then we came up with the wisdom, which is biblical too, have a sound mind. And when you have a sound mind and you're at peace, you don't need all the nonsense. You don't need the hissing, fitting, and spitting. And a lot of those people go back to fitting, hissing, and spitting after get miraculously healed, unless they're interviewed to prove that they're normal. If you keep going back like a dog to the vomit, you're not really progressing. You're just having to need this constant Pentecost sort of crazy fitting thing and fire preaching thing to get right with God or something. And because a lot of churches don't go that far. But this Pastor Papa John from Cape Town, South Africa, YouTube is very powerful. He does miraculous things. But that's for people that need it. And when you come to know the sovereignty and the peacefulness and the deepness of the love of Christ and the Father, you can say, if you want to go a step further, because that's what Mormonism teaches, then when Father says, all that I have, I give you, what does that mean? He's giving it to you. Jesus is obviously there for all saved, not one lost. So if you see me, you've seen the Father. It looked the same. So if Father came through tonight, the Spirit of the Father came through tonight and touched me and healed me, completely healed, 3 times more strength and energy, to get me out of a real serious medical attack, because I was packing my bags to go to hospital. I've been doing that for the last 3 nights, man. And this amazing sister took me out of death and made herself so exhausted she slept all day, sort of thing. Then if Father is talking to me, that's even more privileged, because that's the highest level return of the Father. Now, the Father may seem distant because grace covers that everybody gets saved with Jesus, but If Jesus is with the Father, he's on the higher level. And you can't really get there by being fake or Pharisee or fake priesthood or priestcraft, which is a form of witchcraft. A lot of the people that go that way fall away anyway, and they never get back up again. But I heard Father speak tonight. I felt that he was saying to me, I've sent Jesus Christ to save the world, but to be with me, the Father, not Jesus, the Father, you need to be obedient. Under grace, you don't have to be so obedient. You know, grace or love covers a multitude of sins and all that. God forbid, don't man a lifestyle. Happy is that man and woman who condemn themselves not for the thing that they do, and you don't feel guilty, you don't confess it. But a lot of these casual Christians, they're not serious Christians. When they walk out of a church and go to a big football match and party on and whatever, carnal Christians, they just stick needles in their arms and they have sex and spill the seed, Sodom and Gomorrah stuff. They're not even saved. They're not with Jesus, okay? So do you want to be a serious Christian, a casual Christian, or a carnal Christian, which are not even saved? And when Father spoke to me, he told me there was a higher level, through Christ only, where there is obedience. So salvation, you don't need to work for it. It's pretty much grace. That saves everybody. And that's what Jesus came to save everybody. No mention of priesthood or except he was the royal high priest, none after him at the time. The temple abolished everything. If that's all restored, not in Israel, but the other side of the world, though there's not much evidence, but there's spirit conviction, that means that's the Father speaking to save. Not only have you saved through Christ, but have you become exalted. Many are called, few are chosen. And those who exalt themselves shall be abased, and those who abase themselves shall be exalted. You can't put the crown on like that. You're supposed to lay it down by the Saviour's feet. So Father spoke to me, and I was healed instantly on the spot. No roaring fire or crazy Pentecost tongues or anything was necessary. And it gave me such a conviction, I felt like it's going to keep me alive. There is one alternative, and that is I've got a friend who's a nature trekker. He doesn't have any of this opposition. He's not really a believer, but he's very spiritual, but he's agnostic, and he's stable, and he's sovereign in that way. And when I'm with him, I can almost put all this aside and go nature, hug a tree or something, climb a mountain. That works too. But what I sense, if I was to throw away this conviction tonight because of nature, worship the creation rather than the Creator, and I return home after spending a vacation with him, I reckon it'll all come back, all the sickness and everything. I think, as I said, many are called, few are chosen. Not everybody is chosen for this, you could say higher level. I don't mean anyone's better than anyone else, just better off. I believe that this obedience factor is separate from the grace factor. Faith without works is dead, but gospel of love, that's a works, but not vain works, and so forth. There's something in this obedience thing. Whatever the manual says, be it man-made or not, it's a test to see. See, if everybody was finding fault with these leaders, as I have done over 3,000 videos almost, we're going to go around in circles and we're never going to arrive anywhere. And if you say by grace, that's fine for people that accept that, who are stable. Because so many people are losing it, fitting, spitting and hissing, and there's 47,500 split divisions of grace, where priesthood religion is about 100. And you've only got one shot at it as far as which heaven you go to, the highest or lower. I mean, in my Father's house are many mansions. I go and prepare a place for you. So when Jesus spoke more about hell than heaven, it was to motivate you to choose one level which would be forever. And the highest level is where Father is and Jesus, and the other level is where Jesus is. And all the people that are saved. beautiful. But when you know, when the Father speaks and you reject that, you will regret it. But if he doesn't speak to you and all you've got is Jesus, then it's going to be more, your lifestyle will be more casual, come and go and just be saved. Once saved, always saved sort of thing. If you're truly converted, we still sin, but anyone that says that not sin is a liar. But not in the spirit we don't sin. But the spirit is useless without the mind to use it for its purpose. So you got to respect the soul level issue and make a choice. But when the spirit level and Father speaks through that into the mind and stabilized me tonight, as my mind was spinning out of control and zigzagging with electric lightning in my head and falling down and cold and death rattles, and it spoke, not it, but Father spoke to me, and it went through my mind and it fixed my mind. For how long I don't know, because cleanliness is next to godliness. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean my place spotless, everything spotless, and then I'm going to, I'll go on a vacation sometime down the track, and I'll just come back to a beautiful, clean home. And hopefully those demons or that attack doesn't come back. Because it's the first time ever in this house, pretty much. I've had medical attacks, but not demonic. So really I'm being called out of the 47,500 split divisions of grace and all the insanity, and been thrown out of those churches as well. And they'll never take you back over nothing. So I'm doing everything in the power of the Lord to fix the problem, so I can be sovereign, sober, which, I mean, I don't drink anyway, but I mean sober as in sanity, and have a sound mind. And when you have all of that, 50% of your medical problem is cleared up. Because if you're stable, you're not fitting, hissing, spitting, you're not vomiting, you're not convulsing. But when you're doing all of that sickness thing, you say it's all demons coming up. Yes, it is, because it's a demon of sickness. Then whatever power is in that church, unless you're stable after that should allow you to bear a testimony for stability, but they don't. A lot of them don't. See how their life is a few years later or something. But I've had dreams, and every dream I've had where I've been moved in holiness for the Lord has been sound mind. And I've walked out, say a holy temple, whatever it was in the dream, met highest level prophets and everything in those temples, and walked out into the world and been chased by enemies and all sorts of beastie things and crazy things. And there's nothing can compare to the holiness of the Lord's house if it's been restored, because he abolished the one in Israel. If it has been restored, I noticed that 90% of people go through the temple with sound mind. There was one guy went through a temple, instead of seeing 12 oxen or representing the 12 tribes of Israel, the baptisms and all that thing go on there, he saw 12 pigs and he ran out. And